Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of Monday Night Must See TV with the Hudson Valley Squares. Back after a couple of weeks, we took the night off for July 4th here in the States, but we are back. We still have a reduced crew because it's the summertime and people are just busy doing stuff, and it's hard to get people to commit to a Zoom on a Monday night in the summertime, you know. And I want to thank Mr. Ryan Scow, Mr. Chris Sallow, Mr. Chris Canzaneri for showing up tonight for a fun little idea that Mr. Allo came up with, actually. So this is our topic for tonight is all about bands that you've seen at least a few times, maybe a lot of times, and you've got that one song by them that you really, really like, and every time you've seen them, they never play it. Doesn't mean they haven't played it at all, just you haven't seen them play it. And you're always, every time you see them, you're like, oh, they're going to play that song, they're going to play that song. Oh, they didn't play that song. And then you go see them again, same thing. Then you go see them again or whatever, and they just never play it live when you go. So I've asked everybody to pick out three, maybe some honorable mentions, or if you got five, whatever. I jotted a bunch down. I wasn't sure how many people were coming tonight. So since it was his idea, we'll have Chris Allo kick us off. We'll go Chris, Ryan, Chris Cans, and myself, and we'll go round and round, each one pick till we finish up. So what do you got, Chris?
Okay, cool. Yeah, I love seeing concerts. I love seeing bands that I love over and over again, and it pisses me off to no end when they don't play a song I really want to hear, or they just play the same fucking songs over and over again. And yeah, with every band, of course, there's one or two songs that you always want to hear. And one of my favorite bands, who is I think the best at digging deep and pulling shit out of their ass, even at the fucking spur of the moment, unquestionably, Judas Priest. I mean, in recent years, they have been digging deep. I've interviewed Judas Priest more times than any other band, and I remember like 15 years ago interviewing Glenn Tipton, and he was like, yeah, because I had mentioned, I thought it was really cool that they brought back like United on one of the early tours with the first reunion tour with Rob Halford. And he's like, Chris, from now on, every tour, we're going to bring something out, that we haven't done in a while. And they have absolutely stayed true to that. And I also love the idea of when bands play whole albums, or in my head, I could be like, all right, I've seen them do this song and this song and this song, off of this album. And like with Priest, yeah, I've seen them do all the British Steel. I'm pretty sure I've seen them do everything off Screaming for Vengeance, Defenders of the Faith, and now Painkiller. But for old school Priest, I love Unleashed in the East. And, I've had that mental checklist, but I'm like, there were so many songs that they never fucking played. But in like the last 3 years, they played, that I had never seen. They brought back for the first time since, this late 70s. They brought back Starbreaker, Delivering the Goods, and Running Wild, all of which I saw them do in recent years, which was fucking amazing. But the one holdout that I really want to see them do from Unleashed in the East, which they haven't done since 1982, is Genocide. I would fly every time I'm seeing them again in the fall. I almost bought tickets for two gigs. I'm like, well, I got my third row tickets for Albany. That's fine. I'm like, but I'm fucking hoping for Genocide. So that's my first pick for a song I want to hear. And I've seen Priest 40 something times. So I'm keeping fingers crossed. But they have been better than anybody else out there.
You and I got to stop this shit. That was my number one pick.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Wow.
I'm sorry, Pete.
What are the odds, too?
That's all right.
Same
That's why I'm
band.
glad I
They got
picked
a lot of
couple
fucking songs.
Yeah, because
That's crazy.
I was on the same wavelength as you. I'm like, all right, I've seen Priest a lot recently.
Yeah.
I saw them a lot in the 80s. I'm thinking, what song do I love by them that they've never played that I've seen?
Right.
When I started to go see them, they were already done playing that, and it was Genocide.
Yeah,
that's it. That's it. And I was like, nah, nobody else is going to pick that tonight.
I'm sorry, Pete.
That's all right. No,
it looks like Screaming for Vengeance was the last time they did it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, they did Tyrant in 2019.
Yeah.
I know they did those two shows in Albany, just out of nowhere. The second night in Albany, out of their ass, they decided to do Hot Rockin'. I mean, not my favorite Priest song, but I thought it was awesome that they pulled it out of their ass and played that for the first time in years.
Yep.
So to me, Priest are really good with that. But yeah, Genocide for me is the real holdout.
Cool. Good choice. All right, Ryan.
This topic was kind of weird for me for two reasons. First off, I'm a little younger, So I didn't start seeing bands till the 90s. So anything that they played a million times in the 80s or the 70s and stopped playing just by being virtue of my age, I never would have seen. And the second thing was I go see a shit ton of concerts, but as you can tell from conversations we've had, I'm off seeing like death metal bands in like Chinese basements off in fucking Brooklyn. You know, I don't see a lot of bigger like arena. I see a couple, but that's not like my bread and butter. So this is like, I could say like, oh, I picked song Y or song X here, but maybe they do play it a lot. I've only seen it a couple of times. But there's a website called setlist.fm, which I'm sure a lot of people know, which has a pretty thorough accounting of, at least for bigger bands, even medium to bigger bands, like every show, as long as people enter it in, it's all on there. So I can actually check it. So my first pick, band I have seen probably about 20 times now, is Blue Oyster Cult. And my first tendency was to pick the song Astronomy, because I love that song and I've never seen them personally play it. But they played it a lot via this, I was looking like, no, they played that song a fucking ton of times. They've just never seen it since I've started seeing them, about the last 15 years or so. But there's a great song from Fire of Unknown Origin that, according to this website, they only played a single time. And that is Vengeance the Pact, which is the song that follows lyrically the last scene from the animated heavy metal movie. It's supposed to be in the soundtrack. It wasn't, blah, blah, blah. Great song. Opens with that really distinctive keyboard intro. Yeah, according to this, they played it one time. So if you actually click on it, it'll tell you the time and when they played it in the arena. They give you all the details, but I didn't go that far. I saw the number one next to it. I'm like, that's a great pick, because I know I wasn't at that show, whatever show it was. Yeah, I've never seen them play it, but yeah, my first pick is definitely to Vengeance the Pact by Blue Oyster Cult. And Nick gave me his pick, so I'm going to go with Nick's picks. He's working right now. So he picked one bigger band and two smaller bands, and he said, fuck it, that's what you get. So that's what we get. So the band is My Dying Bride, English doom band, who I've only ever seen once, Maryland Death Fest. I don't know how often they've played the US. I probably missed some opportunities, I'm sure. And the song was God Is Alone. He said, I saw them once, they didn't play it, so fuck it, I'm picking that based on one show. I'm like, fair enough. Based on the times you've seen them, they didn't play that song, whether it's one time or 50 times. So it's a valid choice. That was Nick's pick.
Back to BOC. Yeah, they need to put Astronomy back in their set again.
It's because I see what my buddy Craig a lot, and he's like, you've seen him more than me, going back much farther. He's like, oh, I've seen him play that a lot. I'm like, and I'm sure you have, but like
not in recent years though.
Oh, I've seen him since about 2000. I'd say about 15 years now. I've been seeing him, and quite a few times, and I've never seen him play it once, because I'd remember that because it's one of my favorite songs. But no, it has been out of the set list for a while, and they do mix it up too. They
do. Yeah.
I don't know if they're on the Priest level, but they definitely don't just play the same. They have the hits. You got to play the hits. You're going to hear Godzilla. You're going to hear, Don't Fear the Reaper, Burning for You. They're always going to play that stuff, Cities on Flame with Rock and Roll. But they mix it up a lot. They do throw a lot of other stuff in there. So you never really know what you're going to get. But
I think the last time I saw them play Astronomy was at the Best Buy Theater in Times Square on their like 40th anniversary show.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't go to that one. I
Pretty
knew about
sure.
it,
Yeah, guys. I think, Ryan, I think you really started going to see them heavy right after that show, because you didn't go to that show.
I did not. No, I was definitely big into them at the point, but
yeah,
I don't know. Sometimes I'll get like that bug, like, why am I not seeing these guys? And then that's it. Then I start seeing them. But
that's the last time I saw them play that. That was a long time ago already.
Yeah, I remember that show happening, but for whatever reason, I don't know. I didn't go to it. Probably no good excuse like usual, but yeah, whatever.
All right, Cans, what do you got?
Okay, I'm going with Priest too, and I would have said Genocide, but I'm not going to now. This is a song, they have played the living shit out of this song live, but it's kind of like, I saw Priest a couple times when I was a kid. I've seen him more recently. This song's in the donut hole right in the middle of when I didn't see Priest at all. I'm talking about Between the Hammer and the Anvil, which I love that song. Great they played it live a billion times, and I know it, and I have never seen them play it. And this last couple tours they made, when I've gone and seen them, I'm like, well, maybe I'll get to hear it, and it didn't happen. But obviously they're gonna play it again sometime soon, so gotta keep seeing them. But
I'm trying to think when the last time I saw them play that was.
Yeah, I definitely know I saw them play it, and
early 2000s.
That's my favorite song off of Painkiller. But yeah, they definitely did it in the 2000s. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't that on that Priest live album, which has the planet on the cover? Right, that's it. Yeah.
That's a killer version on there. That's actually the first time I heard the song. and I was like, oh man, I can't wait to see this, and I still can't wait.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
No way.
speaking of Priest, they not that they brought back, Priest had never done One Shot at Glory. It's a song that's 33 years old off of Painkiller. And for this year, they finally did it. So, they definitely see it. And Painkiller really seems to be the album that they pull the most from. So
yeah, they definitely seem to
fingers crossed you'll get to
that
see it again at some point.
That seemed to give them a real shot in the arm. So they probably have that fondness for it. Because I think I've seen them play most of that album.
Yeah, I've seen them play every track off that record. Now that they finally played One Shot at Glory.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be back.
All right.
Yeah.
So speaking of Priest, one of the bands that opened up for them, not on this current leg of the tour, but right before COVID, and a couple of us saw them up in Albany, New York, was Uriah Heep. And Uriah Heep has done another band who's been around for a million years that have done a really good job of throwing little nuggets from their catalog into their live sets. They, again, like Ryan was saying before, got to play the hits and the popular songs, but they would usually, every show or every tour, you get like maybe 2, maybe 3 kind of cool little deep cuts from a lot of their, they got a ton of albums too. But one song I've never heard them play, and it's from their very, very first album, very heavy, very humble, is Walking in Your Shadow. Really good stampede and hard rock song. They play a lot of the other great songs from that album, and all those early albums, they usually pull out some of the classics from those and some of the deep cuts, but I have never heard them play Walking in Your Shadow. So Mick, Davey, Bernie, guys, if you're watching, next time you come around, Walking in Your Shadow, I want to hear it. So that's my first pick for today.
Nice.
Chris, back to you.
All right. This one is the long shot of long shots. I love Iron Maiden, but I have said many times in the live set, they are fucking lazy. And when it comes to the fight between Judas Priest and Iron Maiden of bands, digging deep in their back catalog, Maiden are lazy fucks. But I still love them. I still paid $50, even though I hate that new record, I still paid fucking $50 to join their fan club to buy tickets early. I still bought 4 tickets to their upcoming tour. And I'm still going to sit through those 3 new shitty songs off Senjutsu. But man, though, there's one song in particular I know I'll never get. But I thought maybe I had a chance on the last time that Maiden really dug deep, which was back in 2005 when they did their early days tour. And they only did 10 songs in the US on the Ozfest. But I saw the show in Europe and they did 17 songs off of only the first 4 Iron Maiden records. And yeah, when I looked up the set list again and I read it, I'm like, Jesus Christ, this set list was fucking unbelievable. I mean, they dug deep on this one tour. They brought back Murders in the Rue Morgue, Another Life, Prowler, Remember Tomorrow, Where Eagles Dare, and Drifter. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's fucking that set's unbelievable. I can't believe I was able to see that. But the one song I would have loved then, just like the one song I would love now, but it was originally a B-side. They haven't played it since April of 1982, Total Eclipse.
Yes.
Yeah.
The only thing that gives me a glimmer of hope is that, yeah, in 1982, it was a B-side, but somebody in the Iron Maiden camp decided, that song's really fucking good. So now it's on Number of the Beast, and it's not like a bonus track. It's like it's the middle of the record.
It's in the middle of the album, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the one thing that gives me a glimmer of hope because it's such a fucking great song. Should have been on the record anyway to begin with, but I would kill to see Maiden do Total Eclipse.
I want to address something for a second. So you mentioned how Maiden have gotten really lazy with set list. You got to wonder how much of that is driven by a lot of these Iron Maiden fans in this country who whine and cry about their set list all the time, and they only want to hear the popular songs. Because I've been hearing it for years, and I wonder if Maiden is just like, we're just tired. We'll just give them what they want every tour and just do that.
I mean, it could be, but it's not just the States. I mean, they're playing. Maiden now for many years plays the same set around the world. It used to be that America used to get fucked because they would play extra songs in Europe. Like on the Somewhere in Time tour, they would tour Europe and do like 15 songs, and then they would come to the States and they would only do like 12 songs, but they don't do that anymore. So now they do the same set but it's the same set around the world. So
Yeah.
it could be right, Pete. I mean, maybe they're just relying on that. Maybe they're lazy. I don't know what it is, but
I've never heard a fan base complain more about what a band plays live than Iron Maiden fans.
But it's true, right? I mean,
years.
How is it Priest is able to dig deep on all this stuff? I mean, listen, I love Iron Maiden, but they came out, they're like, yeah, the Legacy of the Beast tour, we're gonna dig deep. I'm like, wait, dude, you played 2 songs, you brought back Flight of Icarus, and For the Greater Good of God, which you played in 2000, and who the fuck wanted to hear that song anyway? Other than that, the other 15 songs or 16 songs on the tour, they're all the same. It's all the same fucking song over and over again. And now they're doing the same goddamn tour 3 years in a row. But now they cut in 3 Senjutsu. They had to learn 3 Senjutsu songs. Oh, fucking great. So yeah, I don't know what it is, Pete, but yeah, I think I'll never forget too. I saw Maiden in Europe, and they were like, Bruce announced on stage, next year we're coming out with whatever the fuck tour it was, and he's like, we're gonna do Alexander the Great. Oh, awesome! Next year that tour came around, I never played Alexander the Great, not fucking once.
They didn't want to bother learning it.
They don't want to bother. They're too fucking lazy.
He's probably saying that all on his own. The rest of the band were like, oh, really? You think so?
Fuck that.
I think that song.
Steve Harris, like, I ain't playing that. I mean, I was shocked that they played and have been playing Flight of Icarus, because I always heard the reason Maiden hadn't played it since the Somewhere in Time tour was that he didn't like that song. But somebody convinced him to fucking bring it back, so that was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is weird how it really is the same chunk of songs by Maiden over and over. Like, you would think somebody in the band would get tired of it.
They go heavy on new stuff too, which I mean, like
They
it
do.
or not, and the songs are long.
Yes.
So that
You're right. I mean, every Maiden tour, right? They are always doing at least 6 new ones.
Yeah, they eat, and like I like Book of Souls, but the songs are fucking long. Like the Red and the Black, it's like 15 minutes. You know, it's as long as it used to be. Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner was the big song, but a lot of the new songs are that long or within spitting distance of it. So
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Ryan and Nick, I should say.
Well, I'll stick with Maiden then. And you know what? I'll pick Nick's Maiden pick too. So yeah, I mean, they're like one of my favorite bands on the planet, favorite band to see live. But you're not wrong, and I like the new stuff too. But they're long songs, and I'm with Chris. There's other songs they can play, they can mix in. Priest doesn't go as heavy on the newer stuff, and their songs are more compact. So it is what it is. So, and actually, I think this is not my pick, but a couple of times the song Invaders has come up. I know Butch has mentioned it a couple of times. So I was going on setlist looking, and I think they've played that song. It was single digits in their whole career. That song hasn't appeared even double digits. But the song I'd love to hear, one of my favorite songs from the second album, and I'll even extend this to say they don't even, other than Rat Child, they kind of ignore Killers, which is a bit of a travesty, but I've never heard them play it. And according to setlist, they've only played it 78 times since 1981. It's Purgatory from Killers. Fucking love that song. Yep. But I mean, half the album, like when, like Chris said, when they played Drifter, brought that back up. Yeah. But man, I'd love to hear Purgatory. That's just like this up-tempo speed metal track, kicks ass. Never seen them. And that's not even a song I'm holding out hope, like, oh, maybe they'll bring it back, because I know they're not going to play it. If they play anything from Killers, it's going to be Rat Child, and I'm not even, whatever. And Nick's pick, he said he wants to Tame a Land, which I didn't check how many times they played that, but I don't think I've ever heard them play to Tame a Land either. Not since I've been going.
They might have done that on the Peace of Mind tour.
Yeah, I saw them.
I have some Maiden bootlegs. I think that might have been the last time.
It's been.
But it hasn't been since.
Yeah, not in Sun. I mean, yeah, I'm sure they've played it. Yeah, because most of these, like, and I'm looking through songs, like, it's rare to find a song that a band hasn't played ever, unless it's like a total, B-side throwaway deal. But if it was on an album proper, like most of these bands, they played it at least once, maybe when the album came out or something. But yeah, it's like Invaders like 3 times or whatever. Oh, great. Yeah, you obviously never gonna hear that. But yeah, he wanted to hear it to Tame a Land, and I'm like, nope, I've never heard that one.
Well, and Purgatory is not only a great pick, but it's like, okay, I'm just thinking in my head, how many times have we all gone to see Maiden, and they have the biggest merch booth ever, and they have Purgatory shirts that they've been selling for years.
Yeah. Yep.
And then they never play a fucking song.
Never played a fucking song.
No. Yeah, to Tame a Land, I saw them play on that first tour. for that album.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember where I saw them on that tour. It was either the Meadowlands or the Mid-Hudson Civic Center.
I was going to say I don't know if they played the Meadowlands. I know for sure they played the Garden and Nassau and Mid-Hudson.
Yeah.
I don't know if they
I was at Mid-Hudson then. May have been the Garden too. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I've seen them so many different places because I saw them at Radio City for Power Slave.
Right. They did like 5 or 6 nights on that.
I think I caught the second night or something like that. So yeah. All right. Cans, what do you got?
Okay, this is one. I know this band has trotted this out a few times. I haven't seen them a million times, but I know way back when they never played this song, and then in the early 2000s they did. I only ever saw them in the 90s, and then fairly recently, and it's the Allman Brothers, and the song is "Every Hungry Woman," which they have done some killer versions of, like during the Warren Haynes and Derek Trucks years. I heard that Greg Allman hated the song, didn't like doing it, was one of his least favorite songs that he was ever involved with. So I don't know, why they started bringing it out during those few years in the beginning of the 21st century, but I never got to see him play, and it's one of my favorite songs by them. So
because they never played that back in the 70s, ever.
No.
Wow, yeah,
But
that's a good one.
But it started showing up, you go looking for live stuff from like 2001, 2003, like the Fox Box and stuff like that, and it's appearing fairly frequently then, and then they kind of stopped doing it again. But I think it's a great song. I would love to have seen them do it.
It's one of my favorites on that album. Yeah, I saw them so many times throughout the 90s and the 2000s, but I don't know if they've ever played it when I've seen them, which is mostly like the Beacon Theater or some outdoor event. I'd have to look into that. But yeah, it's a great song. That's a really good pick. Really good pick. All right, my next one, Deep Purple, Into the Fire from the In Rock album. Now, I've seen Purple with Blackmore and Ian Gillan together, I think twice. Saw them with Joe Lynn Turner once, and then I've seen the Steve Morse version of the band many, many times. And they do play some stuff from In Rock from time to time. They don't play Child in Time anymore. They played Speed King. I think I saw them play that maybe twice, like in the 90s, early 2000s, mostly because Ian can't sing a lot of these songs anymore. I've seen them play Bloodsucker, Hard Loving Man, but I have never seen them play Into the Fire, and I don't think I went onto that setlist website, and it looks like they haven't played that in many, many years. So I don't want to pick any of the like the Mark III era stuff, because obviously I've never seen Mark III era of the band. I've only seen the Mark II when they reformed, and then the most recent one, and they play a lot of stuff from throughout the Mark II era of the band. So yeah, Into the Fire from In Rock, Deep Purple. Back to Chris.
Good pick. All right, mine. My next one, it ties into what Ryan was saying. This is a song that's never been performed live by my all-time favorite band, Black Sabbath, who I saw 50-something times. But it's a Ronnie James Dio era song. I saw them 18 times with Dio, but yeah, it was never performed live by any version of the band ever. Dio, with his solo band, never played it. I love this song. A lot of people don't like it for some reason. I assume Sabbath don't like it, I guess. Although I did hear Tony Iommi in an interview, I guess in 2009, maybe, before Ronnie passed away. And he was saying that the next year, which was 2010, which I think was the year that Ronnie passed, he said they were planning on going out on the road, which would have been awesome, and playing all of Heaven and Hell from start to finish. And there's 2 tracks on that record that they never performed live. Walk Away, which is my least favorite my least favorite song on the record, but I love the song Wishing Well, which kicks off side 2, and no version of Sabbath ever played that live, and I couldn't imagine anybody other than that lineup. Of course, with Vinny Appice replacing Bill Ward would have been fine in my book. But yeah, I would have loved to seen that song live, but that's never happened.
Good choice. Yeah, never will. Yep. Cool. All right, Ryan.
All right. So next choice, let's see here. So I'm picking Slayer, who depending on their mood, could be pretty good about picking Dragon songs out of the closet here. And then I also saw them once. They did the whole Rain and Blood album, and I saw them once did the whole Sins in the Abyss album. So just by virtue of those 2 tours, they checked off a lot of boxes. Songs that you're not going to hear much. But my favorite album by them, hands down, was always Hell Awaits, and obviously the title track they've played on every tour since 1985. And At Dawn They Sleep, probably my other favorite song on the album. They played a lot. Necrophiliac, I've seen a couple times, but one of my favorite songs on that album that I don't believe I've ever seen live. Was kind of I've seen them probably about 20, 25 times, somewhere in that range. Was the 4th song, Praise of Death. Says they played it 85 times since 1985, and they've toured a lot. So that's really not a lot of shows. The odds I was at one of those 85 gigs, probably pretty low. But man, I love every song on that album, start to finish. Some of the later tracks kind of got overlooked, and that's not an album they ever came out and did the whole. We're gonna play the whole album. I don't know if there was no demand for it. I would have fucking loved that, but
which is kind of strange when you think about it, right?
Yeah.
So it's a cult album, but I don't know if it always gets some folks panic because it sounds like kind of cavernous and raw, which I fucking love. But I get that. And Rain and Blood, obviously Rick Rubin, much better production objectively, because I do like that evil sound. But yeah, I would have loved to see a whole Hell Awaits tour like that. I would have been following them around if they did that, and do all 3 tracks from Haunting the Chapel too. Fuck it, get that song Haunting the Chapel in there, which, as Chris has discussed, I don't think I've ever seen. That was very.
I was going to say I saw them on one tour where they did it in 2002. It was definitely God Hates Us All. It was they advertised it as, which was rare, that they were doing different sets, and they actually even changed the stage set. So I saw them 2 nights at the Roseland. And they did do Haunting the Chapel both nights in a row. But I think that was the only run I ever saw them do it. That had to be, I'm going to say 2002.
I might have been at that. I do admittedly also, I should preface a lot of this by saying I got pretty shit memory for a lot of this stuff. So the setlist website, I'm like, oh yeah, I did see that. So if I've seen Praise of Death, which is possible, because I didn't go into granular detail on it, but I don't really remember it. And I fucking love that album. So that is my pick. And Nick's pick, which is a band that I do like, but I don't really like this album too much. So fuck it, this is Nick's choice. Is the band Enslaved, the Norwegian band Enslaved, and their early 2000s album. They had an album called Issa, and there was a song on there called Entroper. And I'll be honest, it's like one of my least favorite albums from them. So when he told me that, I'm like, all right, but that was his pick. So cheers.
I like that album actually.
Something about it was I like a lot of the stuff they did after that, but there was that mid period when they got a little, I can't even put a finger on it, just kind of leaves me a little cold. But I did see that tour, I think, twice. Don't remember where though. I tell you, my memory for this stuff is terrible.
All right, Chris, back to you.
All right, this one has a little bit of a story. I can't remember the name. It was a Kiss tribute band that I saw somewhere sometime, it must have been early 90s, over there by Anthony's Pier 9. You remember across the street, Pete, or anybody?
Rosebuds. Yeah, Rosebuds, right?
So I think it was Cold Gin. I'm not sure. But, we're seeing this. My buddy got these tickets. He's like, let's go. I'm like, okay. So they're playing their set. I think it's Cold Gin. I'm not sure. But this guy, he kept, whipping out the Paul Stanley character. Is like, this one's for the real Kiss fans. And he's playing some song that nobody knows. And one of the ones he played was Love Her All I Can. And I hadn't heard it at the time. I didn't have, Dress to Kill when I was a kid. So they play that. I'm like, this is fucking good. I guess I'm a real Kiss fan now because I know this one. And I hoped, over the years after that when I had seen Kiss that they would play that, but not a fucking chance. Not a
No way.
But
you'd be better chance of them playing the Oath off the Elder than fucking that.
But this band was good, and I swear to God, I took a leak in the bathroom next to Ace Frehley. I swear to God. This guy was like, I'm like, you're Ace, aren't you? And he's like, no. And then he starts laughing. And I'm like, I can't keep looking at him because we're taking a leak together. It's like, I swear, feel it. And he walks out, and then he left. He left right after that. I'm like, And I wanted to say, hey, did you know that song? Are you a real Kiss fan? But you know, how much are you going to talk to a guy when you got your dick in your hand in the bathroom? So.
I mean, I did it with Ronnie James Dio.
I was going to say, I'm about to throw that in.
It's pretty rare.
Yeah, I know. But, you know, there were no cell phones back then and no cameras or anything like that. So there would have been no record of it if I had done something weird. But, you know, nothing like that happened. But, yeah, love her all I can. They'll never play it again. And I wish I could get the chance to see them do it. But, oh, well.
I wonder if they ever played that. Because Kiss is not that kind of band where they play all their deep cuts. I mean, they're not that kind of band.
No. But something makes me wonder why this, you know, tribute band chose to pull it out. Because, you know, but the guy, this is for all the real Kiss fans. And I'm like, he meant it. But there's like 3 or 4 other songs he did, and I can't remember what those were.
But you remember that one.
I remember that one because it was the good one. So.
That place, Rosebuds, was interesting. Like every time I ever went there, I got really, really drunk. Like, in fact, one night I was there with a couple buddies, and I think we saw a Queen tribute band or something, and we got polluted. So we were so wasted we couldn't drive home. So there's like all those little motels, like literally like a quarter of a mile away. We just literally got in the car and like drove right down the street and just checked in. Like, and remember these rooms were awful. I mean, you know, Fleabag type thing, you know, like 50 bucks a night or something. We just all crashed, and we woke up in the morning. We're like, oh, where the fuck are we? You know, scary. Things you do when you're young in the 90s. Right? All right, what do I got here? All right, so I'm going to do Black Sabbath also. So, God, you know, I haven't seen Sabbath as many times as Chris has, unfortunately, but I saw them with Dio a bunch of times, and I got to see them with Ozzy a bunch of times. I saw them with Glenn Hughes once and with Ian Gillan once, but the song I would have loved to have seen the Ozzy version of the band do. And again, I don't think they even played this in the 70s. So there really was no chance of them ever playing it back when they got back together. But I still think I would have loved to have seen it anyway, is After Forever from Master of Reality.
Oh, yeah.
Which is one of my favorite songs off that album. It's such an underrated Sabbath track. Chris Allo, I don't think they ever played that live, did they?
Oh, yeah. No, they definitely did.
Did they?
Yeah. And they
not a lot, though, right?
Not a ton, but I mean, they definitely did it. I could have sworn they did it after they reunited with Ozzy.
Really?
I thought so. I could be wrong.
I don't know. Well, I know I never saw them play it, but I would have loved to have seen
it. I'm pretty sure. I'll have to go to Setlist FM. But yeah, I'm pretty sure, Pete, that they did that a couple times in the two. Because I mean, I feel like they've done everything off of Master of Reality except Solitude.
Oh, which is a great song too. Yeah. I can understand why they didn't play that.
Oh yeah, I mean that's definitely not.
My second choice was Sabbath Bloody Sabbath,
which the Tony Martin version did on the 1995 Forbidden tour, and the only time Ozzy did it is on the Reunion Live album, but I don't think it's the whole song; it's just some of it.
It's some of it, yeah.
And I know I see Sabbath do like with Ozzy do like instrumental version of it.
Do you think that song would be like on every set because it's
it's well, and that's a great.
Ozzy can't sing it. That's why they never play it anymore. Yeah,
and they didn't even do it on the Sabbath Bloody Sabbath tour, which is like should be like against the law or something.
It's a tour for the album. You got to play the fucking title track that opens the album up.
And the crazy thing is, in whatever it was, 1973, when they didn't do music videos, they did a fucking music video for Sabbath Bloody Sabbath.
Yeah,
and it's cool.
It's definitely cool.
Yeah.
What a tease.
Anybody got any other ones?
I got some. I got 2. So both of these bands I've only seen a single-digit number of times, so it's not really a good sample size here. But Megadeth, I was thinking about Megadeth songs, and so this one they've only played 48 times, and I know I've never seen them play it in any of the times I've saw them, but it's from first album, and it's Skull Beneath the Skin. I think one of the best songs on that album. I love that whole album. I love that they wasted all their money on fucking drugs and fucked up in the studio, and it sounds like shit, and it's amazing. And then Dave tried to redo it and make it sound like they knew what they were doing, and he fucked it all up. And that remaster is just atrocious. I'll stick with my original version of it, which sounds like ass. And it sounds like they're having a good time and still pissed off at Metallica and angry at the world. And also, since you mentioned Uriah Heep, I'll pick a Uriah Heep song. So this one, it said they played it 110 times, but I don't think I ever saw it, is Shadows of Grief from Look at Yourself, which is one of my top 5, maybe top 3 Uriah Heep songs. Amazing.
I saw them play that in Peekskill.
You know what? I was at that show. So this is one of those things where my memory sucks.
I think you were at that show.
I was, but if it was the only time I saw them play it. But that's why
I almost put that song down as well. And then I was like, but I think they played that. And I went and looked on that website and I was like, yeah, they played it at that first Peekskill show they did.
Okay. That's why it would have been this is kind of a weird show for me, because unless I go through meticulously, like all these shows, I'd probably say something like, no, you saw that. I'm like, oh yeah, I did, but it's like every time it's the first time I get to see it, like, oh, cool,
Well, Pete, yeah, you've definitely seen Sabbath do After Forever. They played it 190 times. They did it on the 1999 reunion tour when they had Pantera and Deftones opening. They did it on the Ozfest 99. They did it on the 2005 Ozfest, and they did it on the End tour in 2016.
Wow, see, I saw the reunion tour at Coliseum, and I don't remember them playing that. I'll have to go look it up.
Yeah,
because I don't remember.
Jersey and Homedale, or that.
I don't remember the End tour.
Yeah, they definitely didn't play on the End tour.
Not the night we were there.
No.
I don't know.
But maybe they're in '99, the reunion tour. I don't know. I'll have to look at the Nassau Coliseum stuff.
But yeah, I know. Just off the top of my head, when you asked, I'm like, yeah, no, I definitely remember them. I can plain as day. There's no song is After Forever, and they do the whole fucking intro.
Chris, Sal, you got any leftovers?
Yeah, Slayer. Like Ryan said, I love Slayer. I love Hell Awaits, but I actually like Show No Mercy better for myself. And yeah, Slayer was pretty good for a while with Digging Deep. I went to 58 Slayer shows, but I never. They did a bunch off of Show No Mercy, but I never saw them do Tormentor, Face the Slayer, or Cryonics. I would have loved to hear those 3. The last time I did see Slayer on the Rain and Blood tour, and that was the last time they did Cryonics, but it was before I saw them on that tour. And as they went, they kept on adding more from Rain and Blood, and of course dropping the old stuff.
Did you see that show with the Chance that they did?
I did not, because I saw them on the Wasp tour instead.
Okay,
that was Wasp, Slayer, Raven. But I remember. And looking back now, I'm like, fuck, I wish I could have saw that.
Yeah, that Chance show.
You're talking Slayer on the Rain and Blood tour.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I didn't see him at the Chance on that run. I didn't see Slayer I think I only saw Slayer at the Chance the one time, which was the warm-up tour for Seasons in the Abyss.
Okay.
And that show was crazy. So I can only imagine how insane Rain and Blood tour was.
It was nuts. It was nuts.
The crazy thing is the whole show is on YouTube, the audio of it. And it's really good. I listened to it like about 6 months or a year ago. And for an audience recording from 1986, it came really well. So
I was up in the balcony. I remember like looking down and it was mayhem.
Oh,
downstairs.
Yeah. I can remember somebody on the 1990 tour, somebody jumping from the balcony, jumping off the balcony down to the floor on the Slayer. It was insanity. So
that's not a short jump. That's
it's a big jump. That's a suicidal jump.
That's an ankle breaker right there.
Yeah. At least, I mean,
or a knee breaker or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first 2 Slayer shows was that show at the Chance, and then I saw them at the Felt Forum with Danzig, which was nuts as well.
Yeah, that was a crazy show. That one was shut down by the police, so technically that could have been the craziest one of all of them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
what year was that? That was
August 31st, 1988.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But that show literally was just a smaller version of the Judas Priest show at the Garden when they ripped up all the seats and lit them on fire. And I remember they had the cops. I don't remember how many cops there.
Oh, tons of them. I remember a kid coming up from Long Island Railroad because I was living in
Yeah.
Long Island that summer, and I remember coming up from Penn Station, taking that escalator up and walking around the corner, and all you saw
Yeah,
were
it was
cops all
everywhere.
over the place. I was like, oh boy.
And Tom was begging the audience to calm down. He's like, "You guys are fucking it up. We want to play more songs, but you
Yeah.
guys are fucking it up."
It's nuts.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
But oddly enough, Slayer could keep going back to play the Garden, but Judas Priest are still banned from their 1984 incident to this day.
Yep. That was crazy too.
Yeah.
Like, snow and cushions in that place. Man, it was nuts.
Crazy.
That was nuts. Got any others?
Yeah. I got a couple from Rush, actually.
Oh, cool.
I wish that I had seen them do What You're Doing or In the Mood in their entirety. You know, they were doing that medley during the times I saw them. And what the fuck, Fountain of Lamneth, that they never ever played. And I think from their earlier stuff, it's only like little acoustic 2-minute interlude type things that they didn't ever play live. And Fountain of Lamneth is like one big song that they never did. Most people hate it. I like the song.
I love that song. Yeah, I don't care.
I wish stretched it out and done all 20 minutes of it, but you know.
Yeah.
But
I would love to see Fountain of Lamneth or The Necromancer. That would have been great. Both of them.
They were pretty good though with digging out stuff when they were around. You know,
Oh, Rush, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. They were one of the few, you know, like a Priest that really didn't mind rolling their sleeves up and relearning old songs.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. I got two. To Cry You a Song by Jethro Tull from their Benefit album, one of their heavier songs. Really riffy song. I always loved it. Never played it live. I've seen them a lot of times. And then I picked Man of Miracles by Styx, which again is one of their early songs pre Tommy Shaw joined the band. Really heavy, great, big, you know, Hammond organ riff and guitar riff in it. Just really cool song, title track to that album. And they've never played that. I don't think they played that since probably that album tour. But anyway, that's all I got.
I got my last one, Pete. My last honorable mention is the song "Angel Fuck" from the Misfits. It's off the album Legacy of Brutality, which was like a leftovers record. It's a great little song. It's like 90 seconds. The crazy thing is, and I've seen the reunited Misfits 8 times now, but a bunch of like the last 3 times, Angel Fuck was apparently on the set list, and then that night they played the whole show, but still cut Angel Fuck. I'm like, man,
90 seconds. You can't fit that in?
You can't get 90 seconds for Chris Allo here? Come on.
what the fuck, man? If it's on the set list, obviously they must be rehearsing it.
Yeah, give the man a break. Play that song. 90 seconds. Yeah.
I mean, all of their songs are like 90 seconds, 60 seconds.
You know what happened though, right? Glenn was like, "Oh, look who's down there in the
totally.
3rd row. Fuck him. We're not
That
playing."
Chris, that
Oh.
Chris down there? Fuck him. Yeah.
Because I know when a
He
bunch
keeps
of times
telling that damn bathroom story. We're not playing his song tonight.
Oh.
Forget him.
Totally. Well, because I remember interviewing Doyle from the Misfits, and I was like, hey, how come when he was doing the Danzig plus Doyle Misfits thing, which I saw a bunch of times, which was cool, they would always play the same like 8, 9, 10 songs. And I'd be like, dude, what is with that? And he's like, it's all Glenn. He goes, you know, we would rehearse all these songs, and then when we meet to go with Glenn to rehearse, you know, he's got to pick it, and he would just pick the same songs over and over again. Like, fucker, motherfucker. He's doing it just to spite me, though.
I think he is.
Can't prove he's not.
It's true.
Yeah, it's funny. Like when we were putting together our stuff for the show, I would, you know, the first thing I thought I was like, oh, well, what are some of the bands that I've seen the most, right? So, you know, Iron Maiden came up, and I couldn't think of any like songs I really liked that I've never seen them play. So I was like, all right, forget them. And then I was like, all right, well, the band I've seen the most is Dream Theater. I've seen them like 20 some odd times. But like, I think I've seen them play every single song on every album they've ever done, because for years, that's what they did. They would play a different set list every single night of every tour.
Well, that guy, right,
Like
was
Portnoy.
Portnoy was obsessive about it, which is, if you're a Dream Theater fan, that's fucking awesome.
Oh yeah.
He was
That's
like,
why I would go see him 3-4 times on every tour. Every place
Right.
they played in the New York area, I go, because you'd see a completely different set every night.
Yeah.
You know,
Now,
they don't
are
do
they-
it anymore, but
I was just going to ask you, do they still do that sort of thing?
now they stick to the one set for the whole tour again.
Right. Yeah.
Like most bands do. Even though the sets are great because they're not what you expect. You never know what you're going to expect. So that's cool. But still, it was kind of nice seeing like 3 area shows and every show was completely different. On the same tour.
I mean, that's like a dream. Yeah.
Yeah, but imagine how that sucked for them having to
learn it.
Oh, for sure.
Those aren't Misfits songs either. That's a lot.
No,
that's a lot of
no 90-second songs.
That's a lot of strings and a lot of notes you got to fucking.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. So, all right, cool. So there you have it, everybody. Bands we've seen live numerous times, but that one song just keeps eluding us. So down in the comments below, let us know some of the bands you really like that you've seen live a bunch of times, but that one song you always want to hear them play, they don't play it. So I'm sure there's going to be some cool things down there in the comments. So please put them down there. Also wanted to mention, because it kind of came up in this conversation at the beginning of the show, and we might even do this next week. So it's kind of all the rage in recent years for bands to play full albums live. So this is another Chris Allo idea to talk about bands that we really like, who are still around playing, who you'd love to see play them or have them play a full album that you really like that they've never done in its entirety before. So I think that's going to be next week's topic. So stay tuned for that. And visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together all the damn time. For Chris Canzaneri and Chris Allo and Ryan Scow, I am Pete Pardo. Good night, everybody. See you next Monday. Stay tuned for In the Prog Seat tomorrow night. Take care. Bye-bye.